Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at the Super Action Statue JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Wamuu figure. Probably the second in terms of good characters of the three Pillarmen, and probably the third in terms of quality. But there's some good stuff, so don't leave. We're going to talk about it. You'll see if you want to buy it or not. But before you do that, do let me know which of the Pillarmen is your favorite, and if you want me to re-review cars, since I got them recently, and I do my reviews differently than I used to. And that old review is old. Anyway, this guy, like I said, is good and not so good in some ways, so let's go ahead and get him off the stand and take a closer look. This guy stands to the top of his head, not counting the horn thingy, about 7 inches, which makes him pretty close to, let's say, 17.5 centimeters. And if you ever wanted a figure of a rejected stripper with knives in his chest, this is one of those. I mean, it's not really what it is, but it also is. So, you know, it is the way it is. That's JoJo's Bizarre Adventure for you. Not my favorite character design in the world, maybe one of my least favorite, but the figure is a figure that I thought I should review. People have asked me for it, so here it is. There is paint everywhere, shading all over the place. Is it perfectly consistent? No, but it is there, and it does make the figure look pretty darn nice. The detail work is clean. Let's look at his happy place just for a minute. You can see the gold and the green on there, very nicely done on top of the pale yellow. His chest is nicely painted, and then really the standout is the face. Really nicely sculpted, nicely painted, very well put together. Overall, a very aesthetically pleasing figure on the criteria of sculpting and paint, not on character design. I'll leave that for you to decide. I'm sure some people love it. But as far as a figure of the source material goes, this guy gets an 8 out of 10 for the aesthetic. As for the accessories, we do have an interchangeable head, so we have the neutral one that comes on him in the package. Then we have the unicorn drill head thingy with the bloody eyes, and that is all very nicely done as well. For the hands, we have 2 fist hands and then 3 sets of various style pose hands, which are all kind of the same thing. We do have his crossbow with an interchangeable bow cross, which is totally the right name for that. I like that they did that, so you can have it look like it's loaded or not. We have some little swirlies, his little wind swirlies, which are very nicely done. Nice translucent plastic. No paint on there, just clear plastic. And lastly, we have a display stand to help him get in some a little bit more dynamic poses. And I say that because the articulation is limited, but that is not the stand's fault. So accessory-wise, I'm gonna give him an 8. It's not the most accessories in the world, but we have an interchangeable head, interchangeable hands, an accessory for a weapon, and effect parts, and a display stand. That is the whole package. And speaking of packages, let's look at this guy's articulation. We have our hinge ball peg that we normally see at the top, and then a ball peg at the neck. The hinge combo at the top is not great, and that tends to pop off. I guess, is that intentional? I don't even know if that's intentional. I didn't look into it. So, can I? I don't think it's really intentional. I think it's supposed to be glued, because that one definitely should be all the way it is. So that should be glued. If yours pops off, you can throw some glue on there or not. No big deal. Anyway, moving the head around works because of the neck ball peg. The hinge ball peg at the top of the neck, not great. You mostly just can rotate the head on that. It'll be good enough, and that's mostly the case for all of this figure in terms of articulation. It'll be okay. We have a butterfly joint which does come forward. It's not great, it's not bad. As far as butterfly joints go, it is one that works, so I guess that's okay. Traditional ball hinge shoulder, essentially, pretty much all the range out to the side. Full rotation, no issues. This is the most traditional of shoulder designs that we see on almost any of the JoJo's figures, so that's okay by me. Bicep swivel is fine. Double ball hinge elbow, which is only a little better than 90 because he's so bulky and the way things are seated. But you can use that ball hinge to give yourself an extra bicep swivel, so if you need that, you have it. Wrists have a little ball hinge on there, but because of the way they're recessed, pretty limited range. For the torso, we do have a pretty nice diaphragm joint up here. It's a single ball peg, but you get really solid range out of it. Not much in terms of rotation, but you can get some rotation down here and a little bit more leaning. So again, it's not the best, but it'll probably be okay. He's really only lacking in a swivel type range for the waist. For the hips, it's just a ball peg, and you get very limited range out of that. Again, probably enough, but not a lot. And then bringing the legs forward, you don't get a ton, but it's probably enough. Not so far going back, and you do get a thigh swivel down here, and you obviously can rotate it around on the ball peg a little bit. For the knees, we have a ball hinge here and a regular hinge here. You get really good range, and if you want to use that ball hinge to rotate, you can do that. Don't know why you would, but you can. For the ankles, ball hinge goes all the way back and almost not forward at all, so that kind of blows. But you can rotate it around, and be mindful of the shin guards, but you can rotate it around to get a little bit of an ankle rocker. And we do have a toe hinge which blows because it's too far back and is a toe hinge, and they almost always blow. So articulation, like I kind of hinted at, it's not great. I didn't really hint at it, I said it. It'll get the job done, but it's not particularly good. It's the worst part of the figure by far, which is almost always the case for these guys. I'm only going to give it a 6 or a 7 for articulation. It's technically there, and you might be able to finagle it around to get something useful, but it's going to be a pain in the butt. Now, the rest of the figure, we still have a really nice aesthetic, really clean paints and sculpt, and really nice accessories. So I'm going to give him an overall verdict of 7.5. No, 8. I'll go 8. I'll go 8. The accessories won it for him. 8 out of 10 for this guy. It's a nice release. If you're into this sort of thing, go ahead and pick it up and you'll enjoy it. If you aren't into this at all, thanks for watching, but it's not for you, so I guess don't get it. But that'll do it, guys. So thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please do give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, it's unfortunate, but that's the way the world works. So that's the way it goes. If you haven't subscribed, you might want to. I have new videos up just about every single day, other than Wednesdays and some other days when I don't have anything to upload, but pretty much every single day. And I have thousands of videos already on the channel, so make sure you come back for that. And in the meantime, keep collecting.